Welcome back to Pretty in Plants. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I have already done one of these plants. I want to show you really quick. Ta-da! Okay, so that's one of the plants I've already done. Can you see it? A piece just came off. Okay, so if this is your first time here, I'm Rachel. This is Pretty in Plants, and one came off. Okay. Ooh, that one's really dry. The plant's dry. Hold on. I'm gonna water it. So if you're new here, I do semi-hydroponics, passive hydroponics, LECA. And a little backstory, I did most of my conversions, most of my plants in the fall and winter, which apparently is the hardest time ever to do this. So the fact that I had a pretty good success rate doing it even during the winter is awesome. But I wanted to encourage y'all, if you haven't started transferring plants into LECA, now is the time. We have so much sunlight during the day. How do I know that this one's dry? Now, I'm gonna hold it up, and this is you know it's dried out, it's a little wrinkly. What led me to getting Ricoc Cactus and finding a great big one was I had a need. Of course, we all need plants. I had a desire for long trailing plants that grew kind of fast, but really that did well with almost no care. So one plant that actually does really well in semi-hydroponics is the lipstick plant. And I got these big bushy lipstick plants that were named Hoyas on the label. And when I got home and I started looking at them, I'm like, these aren't Hoyas. And I just didn't have the connection, the emotional connection with those lipstick plants, and I allowed them to die. I didn't care for them. I transferred one into LECA, I left the others in dirt. I just didn't like them enough. And some people love lipstick plants. I've had 4 now. They flower, they do really well. I just don't like them, and I'm not sure why. So when I saw one of these hanging, I just think it's exotic. It looks like hair. I don't know. I love them. They do something for me. They don't flower, but they're very easy to propagate. They're very easy to plant. So today we're going to plant a Ricoc Cactus in the LECA. Grow all the dirt out of the roots. It had a pretty nice root system, but I don't really care that much because I'm going to really aggressively brush the dirt out of the roots. Now, I don't recommend this for every plant you put into LECA. I can do this with cactus. I can do it with Hoyas. There's certain plants you can do it with. If you do it with a pothos, your pothos will be dead in 24 hours. So for this particular video, if you see me aggressively brushing with a vegetable brush, brushing out the roots, it's because those roots can take it. And see how limp this is? If I stick this and it's broken off, doesn't have any root system right there. If I stick this down in water, it will grow roots. This Ricoc Cactus is extremely, I will only have to water it once a month. Now, I will say my watering has really, really picked up. As the sun is shining and beaming in our house, I'm having to water quite a bit more often. So y'all know I'm really big on downsizing seriously for those roots and letting the roots get used to LECA and really not giving it too much water. Having said that, once the plant takes off and really, really likes it and is growing roots aggressively, you almost have to upsize so you can keep up with the watering. Not all of my plants have done that, but some of them I'm having to really upsize. This Ricoc Cactus, I stuffed so much cactus in such a small pot. I'm kind of regretting it. On my Ricrac Cactus #1 And then I did 2 Christmas cactus, very tightly packed into a pot because that's what someone else did. And it just adjusted so well, so quickly. And now all of those root systems are needing aggressive amounts of water. So I'm going with a bigger pot this time. See from the video, when you're cleaning out this cactus, you can have a great big thing of dirt, and then as you're getting it out, you will find that the root system is actually not very large. Now that's what's really cool about cactus and why they work really well for me. So this is the roots off of, look how much I get from one little tiny root. Little roots, they dry out really, really quickly. So I spray the roots with Super Thrive, I lay them on the counter, I set the timer for an hour, and it's dried out. And you can see from these fronds that it is starting to dehydrate a little bit and need some water, which is right where we want this plant. Any plant that you put into semi-hydroponics or passive hydroponics, whatever you want to call it, you want that plant to be pretty thirsty. So when you put it into its first dip in the pool, and I'm going to show you, this is the pot size I did this time. It is kind of broad across, and the reason it is that I don't have a very big root system, I'm going to try to use volcanic pumice to hold those roots down in there, get them used to it, and start growing even more fronds for me. At the end of the video, I will do a giveaway and be sending some of these out. Now, to propagate these is very simple. You can see the root system just growing out of the end of this. If I break some of these off and let them dry, wear gloves, they do have thorns, let them dry out in the end, stick this in water or cut it 4 or 5 times and stick the 5 cuts in water, let them dry out between cuttings, of course. All of these air roots, if you stuck this down into some water, it's going to grow a Ricoc Cactus, which is so fun. This is so fun. It's so fun. I love it. Now, on this particular one, you'll see a piece of tape. I think it's really important, especially when you're starting out, go ahead and put a piece of white tape on there, put, you know, some kind of plant label in there. You want to put when you purchased the plant, when you converted the plant, and that kind of thing. Well, when you put this into the leca, these roots may or may not like you, may or may not like the experience. They may all die. If you see fruit flies kind of flying around, that's because there is some rotting material down in your pot. You want to take out the plant, put some gloves on, get all of the rotted roots out, and the magic, the conversion happens actually over the first 4 weeks. Your plant will start to grow new roots. The new roots is really what you want, and those are what's pushing out so well right now because of you get some sun, you get some humidity, you get some heat, and those roots push out much more quickly than in the winter time. If you convert it in the winter time and we're struggling, that is why, because you're having to use heat mats and all kinds of things to get those roots pushing out. So that's what I mean by converting. I'm converting my plant from living in dirt to living in leca and to loving it. So some plants need a little convincing and others do it really well and really quickly. I do think it's important to trust your intuition. If your plant is not doing well, is droopy, is yellow leafing on you, I would take it out and get the rotten roots off. You're gonna spray it with hydrogen peroxide, straight up hydrogen peroxide from your local pharmacy, spray the roots, let them dry out, put them in leca. You can water it again. Put some little water in the bottom, not very much, and start over. Set your timer for 7 to 10 days, wait to water it again. It's really important to know when a plant is dried out. And to observe it really closely to figure that out. My fiddle leaf fig, the leaves just start going down a little bit, and I don't need to check the bottom anymore. I know, okay, it needs water. So that's really important to learn how to read your plants. So what we're gonna do, I put an inch of leca down in here, and now I'm going to, I don't know if you can see, but my roots need to go all the way down to right above the leca right here. And so now it's the dance of putting this into the leca and getting it to stay in. That is the big thing. So all of these have, see, all of these big things are from a tiny little thing, root system. Now, if it's gonna be hanging, so I'm kind of holding it like that and I'm keeping it down in there. If it's going to be hanging, you want to think about visually, and if it's going to be, especially in like a hanging planter, like that one where it's the, you know, it has to kind of go through holes. You want to be thinking about that as you're putting the fronds down into the leca. Now, I normally do not like to go this big on a pot. If you can't, I don't know if you can see that. It is just barely roots in there, because this thing is all leaf and no roots. Hoyas are like that too. But I've done one and I know how much it loves the semi-hydroponics, so I'm a lot more confident this time that I can't overwater or over stimulate the roots, that they'll grow really quickly and love the experience, the leca. Oh my, that's dry. Okay, so what I did, and what's really important when you're converting and you're first putting them into leca, is you want to make sure the roots are very dry before you put them into leca. I know it sounds strange, but okay, so here I am. Now they're starting to kind of rise up a little bit. The weight of them is not wanting to stay down in. So now I'm gonna start pouring on volcanic pumice. Volcanic pumice provides a nice hefty weight to it, and kind of the holding power. What you do is you kind of hold the roots down on that bottom portion, and then you drown the roots with the leca. So the way I do it is I do 1 scoop of pumice, 1 scoop of leca, and then a scoop of pumice. I'm so sorry I don't have this right in the screen. Okay, so you can see it's starting to fill up, and I'm just making sure as I'm doing this that each set of roots is really down in there. If they're not, you're gonna have a problem, because you're gonna have some dry out and some, okay, so there's a really heavy one. If you need to, you can use a bamboo stick to push them down in there. You can kind of see it's getting more full. Screwdriver, this one is all I have in this office right now, just to kind of move everything aside a little bit. Now at this point I want to look, and I do have a blank space back here, so I'm going to rotate it a little bit and use a screwdriver or a bamboo skewer or something like that. See, I have this one last set of roots, and I'm gonna just shove them down in here as far as I physically can. So we don't know if these roots are gonna adapt or not. They may all die, and that's okay, because you are training this plant to live in a different aggregate, and it's going to love it, but you have to kind of get it used to its new environment. Okay, so I'm gonna pour the pumice. I don't like to do all pumice. It gets kind of gluey and stuck together. So I like to do both, the pumice and the aggregate. And okay, so that's it's getting higher and higher up there. So you want the roots down low, and then just cover it with the leca. People have questions about the leca. Oh, that's good. See? Okay, so it's just kind of coming out of here. I should just do regular water. I went through kind of a lot. It's the stress that a plant kind of goes through when you do this. It's a little bit stressful. So if you do nutrient water at the very beginning, it even adds more stress, and it can tip the scales, so to speak. Alrighty then. I love it. Isn't it so fun and beautiful? I love it. And it will make a space wherever I put it. It's going to make that space look amazing. Extras. This one looks like it needs water right now, or it's going to die in 5 minutes. So not that one, but I actually have some extras that fell off during the process of planting this plant. I want to mail them to you. So the giveaway is going to be, if you comment down below, on your comments put, have you done succulents or cactus in LECA? And if so, how was the experience? Hoya's Ricoc Cactus, I feel like, is a little more rare. You don't see those very often. But what's been your favorite transfer that's just taken off and done the best so far in 2020? Put that down below. The first 5 comments, I make sure you, like, if you're one of the first 5 comments, go ahead and go over to my Insta, DM me, and I will send you a cutting from this Ricoc Cactus so you can have it for yourself. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Can't wait to see you next time. Lots of love. Bye-bye.